So Maxime, now the podcast is called "Don't Be Silent, Be Lean." So I need to ask about the lean. Yeah. So tell me, what does it mean for you in practice? We have been discussing about operational excellence, but what does it mean? And I have in my title the lean consultant. Yeah. And so tell me, what does it mean for you? Because I know a lot of people, they capture it and they got it differently.
Sure, but we always talk in a basic manner to the relentless pursuit of waste, right? Which is centered around the human being. But I think with experience, there's of course when we look at the person themselves, it's really helping them to really understand the line and organization, and then bring the organization with the technical improvement. So which is more in my head, I'm really focused on the overall company transformation, not just solving a small ad hoc point, because it brings much more value and it's lasting results. But lean, it's a tricky, honestly, it's a tricky question, and we could talk for hours. But I would say
you have like 2 minutes, yeah. So
yeah,
I will
exactly,
more.
yeah.
So I'm the bad guy now.
if we keep it simple, it's really understand the different waste in an organization, and trying to see prioritize those waste reduction against what a company wants to do. And then after you have different tools which are available to bring this efficiency.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about working harder, but working smarter, which is important. Yeah.
I love it. I always use it when I'm trying to implement and train the guys. It's about working smarter, not harder. So things that you mentioned, and for me, it's really the mindset. Yeah. What I really see, and I disagree with, where there was a lot of cost cutting, and when the guys, they were just mentioning, yeah, we just implemented lean principle, no cost cutting, the pure cost cutting without changing the mindset, culture, and all of it, and the full transformation is the cost cutting. It's not lean. So I needed to be a little bit.
But you're completely right. Cost cutting and cost reduction is a very different thing.
It is. Yeah. For me, tell me, because you mentioned that you have been working in many countries. Can you tell me which country was the most difficult, and which country your project was maybe the easiest? Yeah. So it means I'm now maybe speaking more about the culture really in the country, probably more. Or where did you feel yourself that really it was the easiest for you to implement the things because people were probably more accepting, and where it was just you were beating your head to the wall and you will say, okay, oh my God, it's so difficult.
Thinking about this, I don't think it's related to countries, to be honest, because if I just, let's say, speak about, for example, France, Germany, and Czech, I had very, very good results, and two out of those three, I had also very difficult activities. But when the difficult times were actually linked to the culture of the company, when you do have in the background political agendas. So when companies or leaders are becoming political, it actually it slows down the transformation, the improvement you want to do with the operators. Yeah, and that's basically this is where the struggle is happening, because I don't think I've never had any issue when I worked really deeply with the employees, with the operators on the shop floor, and we were very clear on what we were doing, trying to help them, really pushing the management to give solution to the employees. It has always been successful, always. But when there are actually political agendas, this is where it was a struggle.
Yeah, I had the same experience. When I'm training, what is the lean and the leadership about? Then I always say, for you for the management, for you comparing to what are your roles in lean is to create, the basics, that you
Yeah.
support the guys to bring with the ideas. And it's so simple. Let's call it simple. Just create the environment that the people are not afraid to bring the ideas to you. But it's very tough, in many, when really the hierarchy is, I am the boss, I am, the manager, and I'm
Yeah.
the smartest guy in the room. And just imagine it's difficult when somebody is coming and to say, hey guys, now please try to listen to your people.
Yeah. No, it's a good question, but tough. Yeah.
For the furthest location, you mentioned India. Was it the location where the farthest from the Belgium from your home? Have you been working, or you have
No,
somewhere even further?
I think the further that I worked um, was Vancouver
Okay, Canada.
in British Columbia in Canada on the west side. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Very far.
That's very far.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about, I would say, some project which was the biggest success? So I mean, really, that you are really proud. And I need to ask as well about the opposite. If you have some projects that either it was what we call the fuck up, or you would say that I don't want to have the same project, or maybe the same results, or the same way how it went, again.
Um, they are different. I don't think there is a number one because sometimes you like to think that there are actually the context is always different, so it's very very difficult. But I would say one of the yeah, but I was very happy with my last project in the energy sector, working in an engineering division. That was actually quite good, challenging, of course. But the client was on board, and we were really it was in engineering, so engineering work, so trying to reduce the project lead time, understanding the standards between how to design actually some products, and but tackling the whole division, right? So making multiple projects, up to 4 projects at the same time, developing from scratch a lean program, the designing, also supporting the design of this project selection, the department of lean at the client, and the performance management process within a design organization. That was actually quite good. Yeah, yeah. And across multiple offices, multiple departments in this division. So a span of 300 plus employees. Big challenge over more than 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So looking, when you say about the positiveness, this positive conclusion, because this project did last actually quite a while, then you are able to see the change.
Mhm.
And this is nice because when the second point of your question is when what was the, let's say, the less attractive project, for me it's when it's too short
Mm.
because you don't see the result, or for whatever reason the contract is ending, which is
Okay.
out of your control, and which is a shame.
Okay. Do you know what was like the biggest project that you attended? I mean, in the number of people. So, have you been the part of some projects that probably I don't know 5, 10 consultants were working in parallel, or it's mainly that you are alone and you need to fight
But,
just alone?
no, but
So,
it's very difficult to always be a big team, I would say, in operations, because you do have actually a big span of control. And the point of what we do is we make things with the client, and the client implement the change so that they own the change. So
Mhm,
it will always be difficult to be, for example, within a factory and have a big group of consultants.
mhm,
But if you look at the bigger scale and at a group level, you may be actually a lot, because you may end up by having maybe one or two per factory maximum, but then you have an exposure of 2, 3, 4, 5 factories, and it can become a team of 8, 10, 15 guys, right? So that it depends. And also I'm working for a consulting client right now in Scandinavia, and sometimes it's not about what only we do in operational excellence, but you have also, when you are dealing with worldwide groups, they have different agendas. So you can have project in OPEX. You can have also project in procurement, in
mhm.
supply chain. also in digital or in data, and this also extend the team size. So sometime I know, sometime I realize later that actually the group is much bigger than I thought. But I think overall it's around 10 to 15, I would say.
Okay, that's a big
So,
one. I will
yeah,
be I will be maybe coming again to the fuck up. You mentioned the projects that you don't like, because they are short, so you cannot see what's the outcome. Yeah, because normally you
yeah.
finish and then it continues. Yeah. How often is it that the projects are quitted or are finishing due to the client? Yeah. And I mean sooner. So you have the contract for some period, and then the client said, "Okay, let's finish it sooner." And what are if this happens, and what are the root causes why this normally happens?
Oh, I would say in the one or two example I have in the back of my head, it's linked to internal changes in the organization, and then that led to a conclusion to either you spoke about cost cutting,
Yeah. Okay.
and as a consequence, there is a cut on consulting. That happens actually a couple of times. That was mainly the reason. Overrise, I would say 90-95% of the case, we go towards the end of the agreed contract, basically.
Okay, which is
Yeah,
cool. That's
yeah, yeah, which is quite nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
even an extension when we, of course, are able to show additional results that we can harvest.
that's cool. Tell me now a little bit from the different side. Do you have some favorite book, movie, or either the podcast? As a development.
Yeah, but I did because I saw it's a class actually that I attended a few years back, and I will come back to the later one here. But I always saw in our work we are also very close to financials. So I did
Mhm.
actually a course with the INSEAD business school in France, which is business and financial performance. That was quite nice. A long training, long program, but actually quite challenging and really insightful. That was nice. And then some books on basically change, the reason for change, and so on. Lean books, I don't read them anymore too much. I've got
You will read maybe when I publish something. You can
yeah,
read mine. Yeah, yeah.
but I'll always come back to some concepts that I like to refresh myself with, which I learned back in Toyota, or some things that I've developed also in the past year, because it's important to step back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And over,
Nice.
yeah, yes.
My question to you: you mentioned, of course, you speak French, and you are based in Belgium. For me, the most difficult projects were in France and Belgium, and the reason was because of union. So
Mhm.
tell me about your experience. This my experience is few years ago, but just tell me how is it, because that might be quite interesting. That the unions are very strong and with high power. So tell me about to making the change in such unionized environment.
Interesting question. What there are things we need when we do change anyway. First of all, we need to understand if the ground is fertile or not. So there will be always a risk that, with or without union, to be honest, the people are ready to accept some changes, slight or bigger. I think what I've learned is really important in our work to speak with data.
Mm.
And I've seen also in many companies, whether it's in France, as you just spoke about France and others, over the years, whether the local management or some people via the media are slightly changing the reality.
Mm.
And also bad financial, or I would say weak financial decision, leading to plant closure, changing structure, outsourcing or outsourcing production to Europe, to Asia, or somewhere else. It does not help the communication with the union, with the employees. So we always have to respect actually the fact that we are not here. No one is here to destroy a factory or an employer. We are all here to do one thing, and it's important to be open to say, right, what are we do? What are we going to do here? And then are we all agreeing on the direction or not? And there's no point for me. There's no point to start if we have already at the beginning a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before we start actually big lean program, and we say lean program,
Mm-hmm.
not just 1 week 5S activity or whatever. That's very different, very easy. But it's very, very important to have an alignment on the situation and what are basically we are going to do.
From and now I need to touch this, that this is quite important to really have alignment. Did it happen to you that as well you quit yourself some project because there was some misalignment, or you refused, which was due to that you didn't see that the plant is ready, or there is really misalignment? Did it happen to you, these cases, or not?
I think the filtering effect always happen when you are discussing about opportunities. So if the scope is clear, if the what is basically the readiness of the client and so on, and then sometimes you see that basically it's not really ready, then basically you just don't even start. That's actually sometimes maybe wiser for everybody. You do that for yourself, but you also do that for the client. But all in all, no, because we are. I think what is important with our job and the experience help us to mitigate the risk and mitigate the problem. So we will start an activity and talk with the people, with the leaders, and see, right, we have an issue here and we need to mitigate it. So maybe the project might be slower. We might have a delay if we have actually issues. But nevertheless, usually we are able to manage the situation. So no, I've never left a client because of such kind of issue.
And have you refused at the beginning? Why I'm asking, maybe I will explain. I want to improve and lean and operational excellence and mitigate the risk. This is where I'm strong and you are strong, yeah. But I got twice the offer to close the plant. And for me, hey guys, I'm improving. I'm not the guy, who will be firing and kick it out the people.
Yeah,
So that's why. And it, by the way, happened to me in Belgium and it happened in Czech. So I'm based in Czech. You are based in Belgium. So that's why my question was like this: if this happened to you, that you have some boundaries where you would say, okay, this is not what I'm going to accept. In my case, was really I would like to really to reorganize, reshuffle, redevelop, whatever, restructure. But definitely, I'm not the guy and I don't want to do it there to close the plants.
sure. But the point in your example, it's a very specific skill set because the content of the work is, of course, very impactful mentally, socially. So it has nothing to do with what we do. Let's face it. So for me, it's out of my skill set, to be honest, so far.
And as well to mine. Yeah, we are coming to the last question. And what advice would you give to young people who would like to work, as a consultant? So as an operational excellence, and the second is as well as a consultant.
Good point. I think it's very important whether you go first in consulting or you go first within an organization. You have to be you have to understand how in the first few years you're going to be mentored. I think it's important to have actually in our work exposure to different activities. So when I was in Toyota, I was learning. I had an intensive training. I joined the graduate program, and then I was learning. I consider this company more as a school than actually was work because I did develop so much. So it's such a great company, and that was actually my advice to people: find companies who make you develop when you are young, and then after you will do whatever you wish to do.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I think for me, it took me 18 years. So 18 years of learning.
Yeah.
And then, I just started to be consultant. And I think one of it, at least from my experience, is to be keen to learn learn every day, be very positive in mindset, because you are meeting a lot of people, you are meeting a lot of difficult situation. And for me, really, to be humble, that's probably really also important. Don't play that you are the god. And I met a lot of gods which they thought they are gods, but in actual they were not. But I think that at least personally, I think you need to be strong, really person, and a human, I would say, as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's clearly a good call what you just said, definitely. Yeah.
So Maxime, we are really heading till the end. So thanks a lot. So my
Thank you.
guest was Maxime Chalopin, founder of ULEAN, operational excellence, senior consultant. And please don't be silent, be lean. And I'm really looking forward to next episodes. And Maxime, thanks a lot.